dedicated to helping our Florida residents with special needs and unique abilities find the resources, support, and inspiration that they and their families need to break barriers and achieve their dreams. Visit www.brightexpectations.com to start your journey today. A message from the Florida Department of Health.
Are you looking for a different school for your child, where he or she can grow and succeed in ways you've only dreamed about? Well, we have some good news. You have options. We're a nonprofit organization called Step Up for Students, and we award scholarships for children in Florida so they can attend the kindergarten through 12th grade school that best meets their learning needs. You choose. One scholarship helps pay for private school tuition or assist with transportation costs to attend a public school in another county. And now, Step Up for Students also helps children with special needs with the Personal Learning Scholarship Account. Customize your child's education. Visit stepupforstudents.org to learn more. It could change your child's life. Again, visit us at stepupforstudents.org and find the best learning environment for your child. Every child deserves a chance to succeed.
Now you can get Talk 1470 WNN on 95.3 FM too. Loud and clear, Health and Wealth Radio, WNN.
Were you born from 1945 to 1965? People born during these years are 5 times more likely to have hepatitis C. But most people don't know they are infected. So even if you try to eat right, exercise, and take care of yourself, you can still have hepatitis C, a serious liver disease that often has no symptoms. In fact, people can live with hepatitis C for decades without feeling or looking sick. But over time, hepatitis C can cause serious health problems, including liver damage, liver failure, or even liver cancer. Getting tested is the only way to know if you're infected with hepatitis C. That's why the CDC recommends everyone born from 1945 to 1965 get a blood test for hepatitis C. Treatments are available that can cure this disease. So talk to your doctor about getting tested. It could save your life. A message from the CDC.
Talk 1470 is WWNN Pompano Beach and 95.3 FM W237BD Boca Raton, the Health and Wealth Radio Network.
I'm good, but I have a story and I don't know where to start.
I'm good, but I feel alone in a crowd.
I'm good, but the past keeps coming back.
When the service member or veteran in your life says,
I'm good.
Are you really listening?
I'm good, but I can't get out of bed.
I'm good, but I can't sleep.
I'm good, but I feel overwhelmed.
I'm good, but I don't feel safe.
I'm good, but I still have nightmares.
I'm good, but I don't need any help.
I'm good, but I don't feel anything anymore.
I'm good, but I can't live like this anymore.
I'm really not so good. But are you ready to listen?
Suicide prevention is everyone's responsibility. Listen to the veteran or service member in your life. If you are in crisis or know someone who is, call the Veterans Crisis Line and Military Crisis Line at 1-800-273-8255 and press 1 for free 24/7 confidential support.
AM 1470 WNN with more of what you need to know. Get all the latest on health with caller health questions and comments, breaking health news, the health alternative, outrage, and mystery of the week. Dr. Bob Martin Show, Sundays at 10 a.m.
One day, I'll teach chemistry to kids.
I'm going to be an architect.
My dream is to be a chef.
This is a world of possibilities. A world in which people who put their minds to something can really make a difference.
My goal is to help the environment.
Someday I'll find a cure for cancer.
At the U.S. Department of Education's Office of Federal Student Aid, we believe that aspiring minds can achieve anything. So we dedicate ourselves to making sure everyone has an opportunity to go to college. Each year, we provide more than $150 billion in grants, loans, and work-study funds, making higher education possible for anyone at any stage of life.
I can go back to college.
I can change careers.
I can make a difference.
Federal Student Aid, proud sponsor of the American Mind. Learn more about money for college at studentaid.gov.
If you've decided to get back to feeling good again like you used to feel, then you're invited to tune in to the Dr. Bob Martin Show. Hi, I'm Dr. Bob, at your service Sunday mornings at 10 on Talk 1470 WNN.
Dwayne, why do you look so serious?
I'm thinking about tonight's PTA meeting.
But our kids are in college. Why are you still going to PTA meetings?
Because the lack of high-performing schools in our community is not just an individual issue, it's a community issue. As African Americans, we should all be concerned.
Well, what are we going to do about it?
Everything we can. Education for our youth is in a state of emergency. Our kids need a village of people like you and me to fight for the right to a quality education.
Ah, got it. I've been so focused on my own kids. But they're all our kids. Thanks for the wake-up call that it still takes a village. How can I get involved?
Ask questions. Be a part of the solution. Take action and get involved to ensure that high-performing schools are in your community. Start or join a neighborhood coalition for high-performing schools. This message is brought to you by 100 Black Men of America Incorporated, in partnership with SCLC, U.S. Black Chambers Incorporated, Delta Research and Educational Foundation, and Jack and Jill of America Foundation.
Talk here. Talk there. Talk 1470 AM and 95.3 FM, the Health and Wealth Radio Network. WNN.
For almost 10 years, I've been a lineman for the power company. It's hard work up here on the wires, long, dangerous hours, and at times like this, when storms roll through, I really appreciate how much people rely on me. I know that service is important. That's why I also serve in the Coast Guard Reserve. In the Coast Guard Reserve, our crews respond to rising floodwaters in the Midwest, oil spills in the Gulf of Mexico, and disasters like the Haiti earthquake. The Coast Guard Reserve is a challenge I gladly take on because my country needs me. It has a lot in common with my full-time career, and just like other first responders, firemen, police officers, and EMTs, we do our best work when things are their worst. I have no doubt I was born for this.
If you were born ready to give more to your country, the Coast Guard Reserve is ready for you. Learn more at GoCoastGuard.com.
Sponsored by the United States Coast Guard in cooperation with the Florida Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Opinions expressed in the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show, the place to fine-tune your swing, dress for the course, club, or cruise, and get tips on the best places to play and stay at the right price. Vacation or staycation, host Dan Schub, along with his expert co-hosts and guests, will tell you where to go. To play golf and vacation, that is. Now, here's Dan.
Welcome to the Golf and Travel Show. I'm your host, Dan Schub, and tonight, like we always do, we're going to talk some golf, we're going to talk some travel, and tonight it's going to be a little bit different, though, because tonight is our amazing Thailand show. We're going to talk all about Thailand, the recent trip that I took there, and not unlike every other week, we will talk about golf in Thailand. We will talk about the sights that you get to see. We will talk about the hotels and the food, the drink, the nightlife, the shopping, all the things that you love to do when you travel if you're somebody like myself. And, of course, we'll also talk about the value. So I don't have any deals for you tonight because the entire show is a deal, because Thailand is one of the most incredible deals that you'll find anywhere, and that's on any given day. But we do have a guest, of course, who we will be talking to in just a little bit, and that is also a little bit unusual in that she played golf for the FAU golf team, which is, of course, just up the road from here, but I had to travel all the way to Thailand to meet her. She also played on the Symetra Tour, which is a tour that's one level below the LPGA Tour, but now she works for a company called Golf Asian that puts together incredible tour packages throughout Asia for golfers. And that would be none other than Prao Pol Aporn, and hopefully I didn't say that wrong. The names in Thailand are a little bit different, a little bit difficult, extremely long. You probably are aware of that because they seem to be dominating the LPGA Tour, and I'm not sure why, but maybe Prow can help us out with that and explain why that is when we talk to her in just a few minutes. So, but in any event, I like to talk about everything from start to finish, the good, the bad, the ugly, and there's very little bad to report on Thailand. Of course, I had a wonderful trip. It is a long flight, though. If there's a negative or two, I would have to say that it's on the other side of the earth. So but that's what makes it so unusual, and what makes it really attractive to me, at least, because I get bored easily, and it's really nice to be someplace very, very different. So I also like to talk about the airlines and the air travel. So I may as well start out with that because obviously that's how the trip all begins. And I was very fortunate on this trip to be flying in and out of PBI, Palm Beach International, which, they call it an international airport. You can't fly to too many international destinations besides maybe the Bahamas. But from there, you can fly to other places. So I took a route through Dallas on American Airlines, which has not been my favorite airline of late. But my flights were excellent, and I went from Dallas to Tokyo. First time I've been in Tokyo. Unfortunately, I was only in the airport. And when I was then from Tokyo, I went further on, and I changed to a different carrier. Well, it was through American, but it was different. It was Japan Airlines, and from there to Bangkok. And you're flying for well over 20 hours, plus it's 11 hours ahead of time over there. So it's different than staying here in the States, that's for sure. It's much, much different. But I have to say that, and then coming back, I also was booked through American, but I was on Cathay Pacific via Hong Kong. First time I was in Hong Kong, again, just the airport, unfortunately. But the airlines, especially the overseas airlines, they really do take much better care of you than on the domestic flights. On these longer legs, which were about 15 hours or so in length, I must have had about 4 meals served to me, and the quality of the food was good. The flight attendants were attentive. The planes are these jumbo jets that fly at a very high altitude, and they're more comfortable. Flying in economy is not the most comfortable thing, I have to say, for a flight of this length, but if you're looking for value and you're a bargain hunter like I am, flying business class or first class, it's going to set you back quite a bit more. But just out of curiosity, I had looked to see what these flights cost. Fortunately, I was a guest of the country's tourism board. But for everybody else, I kind of wanted to know what this would cost, and I was able to find round trip air for as little as about $1,000, and that was on short notice. So even though you are flying halfway around the world, and I was watching on the plane. You could watch the screen and you could see where you're flying and where you're going, and basically you can go to Thailand either from the east coast of the U.S. You can go either east or west. Some of the folks that I met out there had gone east. I went west, and you do kind of fly over the pole to some extent. And Thailand, it was further than China by a couple of hours, further than Japan, Hong Kong, obviously. It's far. I don't know of too many places you can go where you're going to fly much further than that. But again, I survived it, and I'm the kind of guy, I have a hard time sitting through a 2-hour movie. So if I could survive it, you could survive it. But then, and we'll talk a little bit more about this when we have Prow on the line, but the value in Thailand is ridiculous. You can make back the cost of the airfare after maybe 5 or 6 days on the ground there. Just to give you an example, and we'll talk again more about this, but the caddies, the wonderful, friendly women caddies, I was tipping them a very good amount for Thailand, and it was about $15. And for those of you who play with caddies, whether you play with them here in the States or over in the British Isles perhaps, a good tip for a caddy might be $80 or $100. So the difference is really stark. And it's similar for the hotels. And again, we'll be talking about some of the hotels that I had a chance to stay in just a few minutes with Prow. But just to give you an idea, a beautiful 5-star hotel in many parts of the country there might start at about $150 for a room, or maybe $250 for a huge suite. Other major cities around the world, places like Miami or New York or Los Angeles, you'll be paying easily 2 or 3 times as much for a similar kind of accommodation. And then when you get down to the Thai massage, which a lot of people go to Thailand for, because obviously they're specializing in this. And, you know, I've gone to many beautiful spas at resorts here in the States, and a 90-minute massage is really priced beyond what I would want to pay, maybe $250 or so. At a nice hotel in Thailand, it might be $80 or $90, and on the streets of Bangkok, where they have some millions of reputable massage places, it might be as little as $15 for a 90-minute massage. So, you know, whether it's golf that you're looking for. Oh, by the way, one of the country clubs, we were looking at private country club for to join. It was, I think, $3,000 to join. Here in Florida, you're going to pay maybe $80,000 for your equity just to, you know, walk in the door, and then get all sorts of other bills that are significant. It's just ridiculous. Although the only thing that I found that was expensive or really expensive was condos in downtown Bangkok. It's, I guess, to live there with the cost of living being so low, and, you know, it's a big city, and there's a lot of traffic like any major metropolitan city anywhere in the world. So to be close to where you want to be, you're going to, pay a little bit more for your space. That was the only thing that was maybe comparable to other major cities around the country. So, you know, again, I'm not moving there yet. I'm not quite ready to retire. And if I did, I don't know if it would be in downtown Bangkok anyway, because so many other parts of the country were just so beautiful. But, another thing that I might not have a chance to talk to Prow about and is interesting. I had always heard about tailors in Hong Kong, but actually they've got similar tailors in Bangkok, whereby you can walk, and they're by the hundreds. You can walk into any tailor, and you can have a man's suit made for you. They'll measure you and have it made in 24 hours for $150 for a custom-made suit. And, I mean, that's just ridiculous. And they'll hold your measurements on file so that you could then continue to call up and order stuff from them if you haven't changed dramatically in size and shape. So just so many things about the country are just so different. Not to mention, of course, the Buddhist religion, which we'll talk about more because of the temples I had a chance to visit. It's quite fascinating, and I understand how it's not that unusual for people who travel from here and go over there and become fascinated with it, and before you know it, they're followers or converts or whatever. But just the history and the dedication to the religion and the teachings and the practices and the temples, it's just it's so foreign yet so magical or mystical. The other thing that was very different from here, although starting to be not so different, was how they revere their monarchy. And not long ago, their king passed on, and it's been, I guess, over maybe 150 days or 180 days where the lines of people going to pay their respects to the king are 5 hours long in the warm heat and humidity. And the people are just the passion that they have, the respect that they have for the monarchy is something that here in this country, well, we never had before, although it looks like we're heading in that direction. But it's just amazing. And I don't know. It's just everything about this country is so different than what we're used to here, but so fascinating and so much fun to just behold. So in any event, what we're going to do is we're going to take a first quick break, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to get into this a little bit deeper from somebody who knows all about it, and that would be our guest, Prow Pol Aporn. Again, apologies to Prow if I'm not pronouncing her name right, but we'll be back in just a couple of minutes, and we'll be talking more about amazing Thailand. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss it. And we are back. Time for a quick message from our sponsor, Labor Finders. If your business needs industrial workers or if you're looking for work, you got to call Labor Finders. Labor Finders places for temporary or temporary to hire opportunities for skilled, semi-skilled, or general labor positions such as plumbers, electricians, concrete workers, forklift operators, hospitality, office clerical, and so much more. Labor Finders has almost 200 offices nationwide. Near here in Boca Raton, they have offices in Homestead, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach, and in Jupiter. So if you need legal insured workers or if you're looking for work, call Labor Finders toll-free at 800-864-7749. That's 800-864-7749 or visit laborfinders.com.
I remember one day we had nothing to do, so we went down to the city zoo just to kill an hour or two out in the good sunshine. But we had so much fun, we were glad that we came. We fed all the animals and gave each a name. We didn't even mind when it started to rain. We had a real good time. But now that it's over and you're far away.
And we are back. And as I was saying before, that I could tell you all about Thailand. I could tell you about the wonderful golf. I could tell you about the value, the hotels, the national parks, and on. But to learn a little bit more about it from somebody who truly knows, somebody who plays golf professionally, a heck of a lot better than I do, and also, coincidentally, is an expert on travel to Thailand. We've got with us Prau Pol Aporn. Prau, are you with us?
Hi, Dan. I'm here.
Well, thank you, and I hope I didn't mess up your last name too much.
Well, it's all right. I mean, no one gets it right.
I explained earlier that the words and the names in your beautiful language are very difficult for us to pronounce.
Yeah, it can be. But anyways, I mean, I just go by Prau.
Well, good. That is much easier. So I tried to explain to everybody, but why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your background and your ties to the Boca Raton area and how that kind of brought you full circle and back to Thailand?
Oh, well, I used to play on tour, so I was on the Symmetra tour for about a couple of years, and also a Canadian tour. And I went to school at Florida Atlantic in Boca Raton, Florida. It was such a coincidence when we met also.
Yeah, sometimes you have to go around the world to meet somebody who lives in your backyard.
Yeah, it's like that, And I mean, to knowing the area and talking with you, it's just easier to picture how you would feel when you first arrive in Thailand, So it's great.
Well, so tell me about how about the other way around? When you first arrived in South Florida, was that the first time that you were in the States when you come to college here?
Not the first time. I traveled out there about 2-3 times before I decided to go to college out there. It felt a little bit like home because of the weather itself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bit warm and a little, less humid than here for sure, but still, throughout the year, the weather is quite mild, compared to other parts of the States. So it just kind of felt like home most of the time I was there, and able to golf all year round. It was great too.
Well, now, and that's a good point. So in talking about golf in Thailand, now, I believe that there's, almost 200 or almost 300 golf courses in the country?
Yeah, the ones that I want to say, in the playable range is about 200 golf courses.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest maybe like 9 holes and stuff,
Right. And of course, as I found out that in the summer at least, and I wasn't even sure if it was which side of the equator you guys were on, whether it was summer or winter this time of year, so I was totally surprised. But your summer is the same as our summer, but at least in parts of the country, a little bit warmer and perhaps a little bit more humid.
Yeah. We're near the tropical zone, so it's more humid for sure. When you're here, it's still considered rainy season. I mean, we don't have fall, we don't have spring, obviously. Usually it's quite warm throughout the year, but there's period of time like around November through March that the weather is nicer and a bit cooler and drier as well.
Of course, and that would be, of course, the peak season. But as I mentioned before, the value is so great there that even in your peak season, it's still very reasonably priced.
Yeah.
Now, we had an opportunity to play some golf on some private courses as well as some public courses. And for the folks who are listening and perhaps want to come over to Thailand and play a little bit of golf, is it possible to play the private courses for everybody? Do people like Golf Asian get folks out there into the private courses?
Yeah, for the private courses, usually you need to know members if you're going to walk in. But now it's accessible and possible for vacationers to visit as well. Like the course that you play on the last round, the Royal Gems Golf City. That's fully private, and like a tour operator like ourselves can book you in. And usually the private courses, I find the quality is better because it's less traffic on the course, and also the maintenance is better than the public courses.
Okay,
and
so
also, I mean, the caddy service as well.
Well, okay. Well, I was going to say, since you mentioned Royal Gems, we'll talk about it, but we also need to talk about the caddies too. So let's talk a little bit about the caddies. So every golf course, private or public, that I went to had beautiful caddies. Is that the case at every single golf course in Thailand?
I would want to say so, yes. I mean, caddy is part of golf in Thailand. I mean, there's no, like, if you compare South Florida and here, there's no driving. I mean, you don't even need to drive your own golf cart. No, the caddies drive for you. I mean, you don't need to pick your own club. If you don't know what to hit, then they will just pick for you. After 3 holes, they learn about what you're using. So it's great. It's part of, part of the game here. And most people get spoiled by it.
Needless to say, I'm one of them, of course. And being that even though I'm used to the warm weather, I don't typically play golf every day, maybe once a month or something. So being out there for several consecutive days in the heat, I was starting to feel it a little bit. And my caddies were clued to keep an umbrella over my head. So, I mean, talk about being spoiled. Not only are they marking my ball and fixing my ball marks on the greens and raking my bunkers for me and giving me advice on my putts, but they're also holding an umbrella over my head to keep the sun off of me. I mean, how nice is that?
Yeah, and you can't find it. I mean, you can't find it over there. I mean, here, and it's I want to say the fee is reasonable too to have a caddy go with you.
Yes, I mentioned that earlier, that a good tip is $15, whereas here in the States it might be $80 or $100 is what's expected. So huge difference. Yeah. And it's the same with the greens fees. I mean, we were looking at some of the clubs. The membership is ridiculously low, so I'm sure that the daily green fees is also considerably lower than it is here. So what I'd like to talk about is the value, for what you pay and for what you get and for the special perks that you receive that maybe you would find nowhere else. That's truly what sets golf in Thailand apart from everywhere, right?
Yeah, I want to say, because, beautiful golf courses you can find anywhere in the world. You can find in your own backyard. I mean, golf is golf, but people travel for golf because they want the experience. And I think in Thailand, the whole golf experience in Thailand is slightly different than anywhere else, it starts from when you drop off the golf bag at the backdrop. I mean, someone take your bag and you don't see it until you go to the first tee, that kind of thing. You get to the clubhouse. I mean, lockers fully equipped, and, you go in and pro shop, people greeting you, and it's just that whole experience. Once you get there, you feel like you are important already.
Yes. And I have
not because you're a customer, but you feel welcome when you're there.
The locker rooms at the private clubs were just fabulous, and at the public clubs, they still had facilities where maybe there's 15 or 20